Charlie Kirk, the racist? The week that Charlie Kirk died, I read a number of tributes to him by black athletes and entertainers, and while they were sorry that he died, a good number of them expressed reservations about his racist past. And I just kind of brushed this off for that week. I mean, anyone who is not a registered Democrat is always labeled a racist 100% of the time. That is where our national dialogue is in 2025, right? So I just kind of brushed it off. But I'd see articles like this from Black Enterprise. Black people react to the fatal shooting of right-wing activist Charlie Kirk. Kirk had built a platform off of white supremacist ideologies. Nalan Abdur Rahman, September 11th, 2025. This week, Monday opened up with the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance, paying tribute to his friend Charlie Kirk by hosting, possibly for the last time, the Charlie Kirk Show. Again, this is the week after Charlie Kirk was murdered. And he had a number of interesting guests. He had Tucker Carlson, Trump's chief of staff, and some staff from the White House Communications Office. At the end of his Charlie Kirk show, J.D. Vance went off the air and talked about something that was personally bothering him. He said that The Nation, the left-leaning website supported by progressive billionaires, including George Soros, had run a hit piece on Charlie Kirk 4 days after his death. And the hit piece, he wouldn't name the woman, but it made false claims, J.D. Vance said, that Charlie Kirk had said that black women lacked the brains for advancement. And the vice president said this was a deliberate smear by the left in order to tarnish Charlie's legacy. Now, even though I voted for this person, I don't trust anyone's statements when they're in power, so I decided to research this myself. So I went to The Nation. Here's their article. The Nation. Charlie Kirk's legacy deserves no mourning. Written September 12th, 2025. The author is Elizabeth Spears. Look what she says. It's just on the subheading. The white Christian nationalist wasn't a promoter of civil discourse. He preached hate, bigotry, and division. Alright, so a lot of these black entertainers, people in the media, athletes, they base their statement on Charlie Kirk based on articles like this by The Nation. Let's see what she says. Many of the facile defenses of Kirk and his legacy are predicated on the idea that it's acceptable to spread hateful ideas, advocating for the persecution of perceived enemies, as long as you dress them up in a posture of debate. This is just class privilege. Now, as a reminder, the person lecturing the dead Charlie Kirk on class privilege is a liberal white woman who was formerly the editor of the New York Observer and the founding editor of Gawker. Do you know what happened to Gawker? Hulk Hogan put them out of business. White liberals consider themselves the saviors of black people that they've never even met. And so Elizabeth Spears sets herself up as the savior of black women who are being victimized by racist Charlie Kirk. Never mind that the black women that she's coming to the defense of are women like Ketanji Jackson Brown of the Supreme Court and Michelle Obama, some of the most powerful women on earth. But the white savior complex of the liberal left says that she has to come to their rescue because they're just mindless and pathetic, which is in itself a racist conceit by many white liberals. And they've repeated this over the decades. It's like, no one asked you to be the savior of other ethnic groups, Elizabeth Spears. Why do you appoint yourself as their savior? This white savior complex is something you only see among the progressive left. I'm searching for corroboration here on what she said in her article for The Nation. There's no link provided for Charlie Kirk smearing Ketanji Brown Jackson and Michelle Obama. So I went and did some Googling. I found this news site, the Atlanta Black Star, and they wrote this story back in June. Conservative firebrand Charlie Kirk sparked fresh outrage after attacking Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson as a diversity hire. And you'll notice they have a large number of hyperlinks on this article. Almost every sentence is a hyperlink, but they can't find you his actual link to what he said. Isn't that interesting? Here, I finally found it. This was posted by Elizabeth, and it's out of context, but let's just play enough of it here to give you an idea of what the charge is of racism against Charlie Kirk.
Joy Reid and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks, we would have been called the racist. But now they're coming out and they're saying it for us. They're coming out and they're saying, I'm only here because of affirmative action. Yeah, we know. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously. Play cut 52.
But I rise today as a clear recipient of affirmative action, particularly in higher education. I may have been admitted on affirmative action, both in terms of being a woman and a woman of color.
So there you have it. Just from that brief clip, you could see the powerful representative in question was admitting that she used affirmative action to get ahead. This means that she took the place of someone who was more qualified, possibly smarter, earlier in her career. As far as Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, the entire nation knows that President Joe Biden promised to find a black woman if he had a chance to appoint someone to the Supreme Court. This was his criteria. So by definition, Ketanji Brown Jackson was a diversity hire. This isn't a claim by Charlie Kirk. The President of the United States, Joseph R. Biden, made this claim before he selected her. So let's go back to the agenda of the nation. Why is it important for Elizabeth Spears to trash a dead man? If you think about it, the bullet that killed Charlie Kirk was only the first stage. The next stage is they have to destroy his reputation. You see, Charlie Kirk's legacy must be destroyed because the bullet didn't finish the job. That's left to progressive so-called reporters like Elizabeth Spears. Her job is to make sure that no one respects him after his death. And the best part is for the staff at the Nation, their reporters and their editors, is that Charlie Kirk is no longer alive to defend himself from their smears. Thank you.